Excuse me, I hate to say this, but I can't hear anything.
The symbol of our free faith. By its light we see the many paths we may walk. Old as the sun, new as the freshly lit candle, it reminds us to honor our past even as we rejoice in the present moment. And this is a chalice lighting that many years ago when my son was young, too young to read, it was said at the beginning of the Sunday school session. And one night I was wearing my chalice, my UU chalice symbol necklace when I tucked him into bed, and he started saying it, and he said the whole thing all the way through. So it has become one of my favorites. It's now time for joys and concerns. If anyone has a joy or concern, please come forward, say your name, and when you're done, place a pebble in our common bowl.
It's been quite the last few days for me, and I'm going to try to read because that way I can get it concise. On Friday, just before 2 p.m., when there was a 2:30 hearing at Batavia, I sent a text message to my friend Shelley. Facebook Messenger is great because you can see who you're texting rather than having to know their number or have them in your directory, and you can see when they've seen your message. And I said I expected to get completely caught up just before 2 p.m. That may have cinched the outcome of the 2:30 p.m. hearing. I thought I was going to get completely caught up because our planned all-day sailing on Saturday had been canceled because of the wind and the air quality. So I was going to have Saturday to be stuck in the house and doing work. But that's not what happened. What happened, I explained in Spanish, but it's awesome how Google Translate translates back and forth between Spanish and English. It does an awesome job. I mean, if I know the word in one language, it could come up with a better word in the other language that I may or may not have known before. So what I was telling people this morning in Batavia, where I am actively engaged with 15 of 18 individuals currently detained with whom I've been in contact via text. On Friday, during the proceedings that began when the Haitian detainee, Bradley Compere, signing documents I had translated from Spanish to English for him, Judge Brandy Lauer lowered the bail, which he couldn't afford to pay, from $45,000 to get out of detention to $7,500. That amount will be paid Monday, tomorrow. As it was too late to process it the same day, by the time I talked to the foundation that had gotten $30,000 and thought they had 2 more foundations to pull together the last 15, it was after close of business on Friday. I'm going to Batavia on Monday, so now I've got a 2-day trip instead of 1 day of sailing, and I've been communicating back and forth, so I didn't get anything done. Because there's a training meeting for the group called Justice for Migrant Families, for volunteers for them in Buffalo between 6 and 7:30 p.m. And so I will go and pick up Bradley tomorrow, if we can get him out that soon before we'll spend the night in Buffalo, and if not, I will go on Tuesday on my way back from Buffalo and pick him up. And last time I went to visit detainees in Buffalo, they only give you an hour per visiting session, which is specific hours. I think it's 3 times weekdays. And I had 2 detainees to visit, and I said, equal time for the 2 detainees, and so they gave me 5 minutes for the last one, although they extended it to 15. But this time I'm hoping that when I call in the morning, I might get an exception, or at least be able to see 4 of the detainees each day. So things are finally coming to fruition. I'll also be bringing the hard copy paper of things that are going back and forth, getting people out from detention. That is all without benefit of an attorney. We had an attorney that he recruited to show up just at the hearing, which was absolutely necessary. You know, she threw a curve that he couldn't have handled. But the mails, nothing is coming to me timely, nothing is going back to them timely, and I'll be able to take it so that no fewer than 6 can start the process of getting out of detention with the papers that I dropped, so that all they have to do is cross the window and get it back into court. So I'm just so excited that what I've been doing with more than 50 detainees since my clients were first detained in October is not simply helping them feel good about going home as fast as possible, but actually changing the outcome and getting people out.
My son was here last weekend with his 2 youngest children. His son his youngest is a boy, 22, and his girlfriend came too. The last one is a girl who was 20. She's very, very photogenic, wants to be a model, and so we spent the weekend kind of watching and her fingernails. It's just funny. And thank you for caring so much for what you do. It's important. Oh, I also went up to pick up Sylvia today, and she's not there, and I don't know where she is. I think.
Gallivanting.
Pardon?
She's gallivanting. She's a gallivanting.
Could be in Maine. I'm going to check with her kids.
That's true, yeah. Did you have something? Yep. Okay.
Well, it's both a joy, I'm Warren, by the way. It's both a joy and a concern to be here today. Instead of being next to Eleanor, she is right now going across the southern side of the Catskills. My sister had died in November, and there was a family get-together yesterday on Long Island, and I felt so poor a couple of days ago. I said, you 3 go along without me. So I'm feeling somewhat better now. Partly, I think it's a milk allergy, and also it's not the balance problem that I've been told about before, but it's some of the kind of balance problem, and hopefully we'll have answers for that. So Eleanor will be back in about 3 or 4 hours, and then things will seem a little bit more in balance.
I have a cat on here.
And one for Kat.
Good morning.
Morning.
There's a couple things. One of which is I'm encouraging everybody to go and check out the Memorial Garden and see the new plants. We were able to hire a team of lawn workers that also do odd jobs, and they did a very lovely job. So go check it out. The other thing is my back and my neck are not doing well, so I am going to have to pursue more medical care and just see if they can stop whatever's going on, because it's not feeling good. So maybe somebody could put a stone in the chalice thing for me. And that's it. Thank you.
On the immigrant front, my neighbor Alejandro, who works on a mega farm, which is slightly understaffed now, and so he's been doing extra things. Was it? I don't know if it was yesterday or yesterday it was. He was moving some of the cows, and a heifer got frisky and somehow or other knocked him down. He was there all by himself. He regained consciousness. He doesn't know how long he was out, and was able to get his phone out of his pocket and call for help. He was taken to his house, which is near the farm, and his wife took him into Samaritan. No broken bones, a very likely concussion, and some stitches to his head. And he didn't used to work on Sundays, but he's been working Sunday mornings, and the doctor said, you can't go back to work until Monday. And his wife is keeping an eye on him so he doesn't do anything he shouldn't do. I saw him out in the yard yesterday afternoon, and I said, you're supposed to be resting. He says, this is the first time I've been outside. So I'm hoping he will be fine and not have any after effects. And another joy, Neil has been here visiting, and we are going to be doing our hand fasting after the service, and so that's a definite joy. Let us hold all these joys, whether spoken or unspoken, in our hearts and reach out to one another with love. And now the candle of memory and healing. We have been lighting this since 9/11. It reminds us that no matter what happens where on our lovely planet, it affects all of us in one way or another. And so sometimes we have a specific focus, but I think there's enough going on in the world that we can do it in more or less in general. Okay, I'm going to ask Neil to start with his 3 poems, but after each one, we're going to want feedback, what you thought about it, how it made you feel, and so forth. So, to your throne.
There's the microphone.
Yeah.
I've got it over here, and I'll use it over another one too, so I'm going to turn that one on. That one, I'll give you both of those, and then I'm going to switch it over to this one here.
They're for 2 separate purposes.
Okay. The first one is Angel Dream. I dreamed an angel when I was a very young little boy. She was so white that I could have felt her whiteness if I had dared to touch it. But I couldn't because I was dead in my dream. Not dreadfully dead, but transcendently dead in a peaceful contemplation of my glowing white angel. Only those who have seen such whiteness could ever know it. It is beyond description or explanation. Take my word for it that it was otherworldly wonderful. There was one other color in my dream, the color of blackness. There has never been such an absence of color, except that it felt like velvet and held no malice at all. My angel and I communed peacefully in an ever-still moment, burned into my memory over 73 years later. There are some wordless messages that come from beyond the pale, merely but stunningly to offer a vision of peace and love. Honor my angel with me, Joanne, as you teach me more patience and acceptance. My vision will not heal me if I am all alone without you, my friend, lover, and mentor.
Feedback.
And take it to the next. I will hold the mics and take it to the next person, and I'm monitoring that the people online don't tell me, help! As I was starting to listen to your poem, I was a bit distracted, and what really picked up was when I realized that you were talking about a specific person in the relationship. And this is the kind of poem that I want to see visually, because I'm a visual person and I could have gone back and seen the clues that I missed the first time. Or maybe it would be really nice to have you read it again for us.
A very young little boy. She was so white that I could have felt her whiteness if I had dared to touch it. But I couldn't, because I was dead in my dream. Not dreadfully dead, but transcendentally dead in a peaceful contemplation of my glowing white angel. Only those who have seen such whiteness could ever know it. It is beyond description or explanation. Take my word for it that it was otherworldly wonderful. There was one other color in my dream, the color of blackness. There has never been such an absence of color, except that it felt like velvet and held no malice at all. My angel and I communed peacefully in an ever-still moment, burned into my memory over 73 years later. There are some wordless messages that come from beyond the pale, merely but stunningly to offer a vision of peace and love. Honor my angel with me as you teach me more patience and acceptance. My vision will not heal me if I am all alone without you, my friend, lover, and mentor. And that would be Joanne.
Any other comments or feelings or anything for that one?
It made my heart grow. So moving, touching. Thank you.
The second poem?
Boots and wings. Jesus and my goddess are friends. Oh yes, I know you think I'm into trends, new age amends for my quaint patriarchy. It's not malarkey. They like each other. They're not at all starchy. He is my boots. She is my wings. He is my rock. She is my clouds. Truly so, it's not a crock. She scintillates me, swoons me with delight, palpably colored, coquettish endorphins, splayed on black universal canvas, looking out, seeing back in, whirling and dancing, where dogma dies, truth begins.
I'm seeing nods. Any out loud comments?
Knowing what the first poem was about really made it much easier to capture it on the second. And it gives a deeper understanding by repeating similar themes, and we really feel like we get to know you. Thank you for sharing so much about yourselves and your relationship.
I'll ask a instructional question. Change of pace. You shifted from a totally different format for your poem to the new one. And was that growth, or you just want to try different?
One of them I wrote, the first one I wrote, I don't know, in 2004. And the second one, Boots and Wings, I wrote that, I don't know, a couple of years ago. So there was such a time difference between them that I really didn't consider how they might connect or how the cadences might be different.
Let's have your third one.
Time's magic fairy flown on, ghostly upon the impending dawn. Dawn slips summer surcease for a song, to the future where I hope we belong, in rocking chairs of graying pears, golden sweet memory of our last spent glow, to that place we fear to go. Slow down, dear, and so, my love, I wear the present bridle bit, chafing to run free and fro, hot-tempered to be mild together reconciled. Here with you I'll stay and be. Now we are, as you can see, pending upon the heaven of hope. The path ahead is drawing near. Upon the lake so dark and blue, the ties that bind will have their due. Squirming skirted come to me, once more to climb the tree. Hug me, kiss me, gentle bee. The dragon dies amidst our joys and burning cries, riding the sunset until it dies.
Pardon me? When did you write this one?
Oh, it's also within the last couple of years. I write poems, and I've got a collection of them going back to about 2000.
Any comments or feelings from that one? Okay, then let's see what I've got next on my list to do. Would you like to go back to the other seat?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yes. No, well, there will be more poetry. For the offering, I wanted to read these words from Max, from his book, View from a Tree. Let us give thanks. Let us give thanks for a bounty of people. We could, that's the quite long meaning. For children who are our second planting, and though they grow like weeds, and the wind too soon blows them away, may they forgive us our cultivation and fondly remember where their roots are. Let us give thanks for generous friends with hearts as big as hubbards and smiles as bright as their blossoms. For feisty friends as tart as apples. For continuous friends who, like scallions and cucumbers, keep reminding us that we've had them. For crotchety friends as sour as rhubarb and as indestructible. For handsome friends who are as gorgeous as eggplants and as elegant as a row of corn, and the others as plain as potatoes and as good for you. For funny friends who are as silly as Brussels sprouts and as amusing as Jerusalem artichokes, and serious friends as complex as cauliflowers and as intricate as onions. For friends as unpretentious as cabbage, as subtle as summer squash, as persistent as parsley, as delightful as dill, as endless as zucchini, and who, like parsnips, can be counted on to see you through the winter. For old friends, nodding like sunflowers in the evening time, and young friends coming on as fast as radishes. For loving friends who wind around us like tendrils and hold us despite our blights, wilts, and witherings. And finally, for those friends now gone, like gardens past that have been harvested, and who fed us in their times that we might have life thereafter. For all these we give thanks. And the more poems are the poems that I brought. These were written when I lived up in the woods at what we called Harder's Hideaway. I wrote it in the spring of 2013, uncovering the garden. I scrape away the mulch, dead leaves mostly, but pine needles too, using my fingers as a rake, pulling the protective blanket away from the perennials, awakening from their long winter's dormancy, now sending tentative tendrils skyward. Even if they couldn't see the sky, they knew it was there. The crocus already budding, proclaiming spring. Nearby, a plastic stake stuck in the earth since last year hinted at a hyacinth. In the corner garden, another one or two gave a promise of primroses. What is spring then but promises and hope? Any comments? What did it say to you?
What I was intrigued by was your ability to create a picture in my mind. I just watching, going around with you, looking at the different plants with your details,
Anyone else?
Depends on that covering that you scraped away. Did you do it after they used it? Or you should have said that.
That was back in 2013 before I knew, but I didn't think to put that in there. I was just focusing on my actions, not on consequences other than helping the plants. Yes. Right. That's right. Yes. And actually, speaking to that faith that plants have, when I first moved to where I am now,
where a hole had been dug and it hadn't been filled in yet. And in the spring, these green leaves were coming up. And I dug down about 2 feet to find the daffodil bulbs down there. So they were really taking a leap of faith, but they knew what way was up, and they came.
It's also grounding in connection.
Yes, grounding in connection. This was also written in 2013, and it's entitled Favorite. My favorite poem isn't always the same one. It depends on my mood, on your words, on my perception, on your cleverness, on my need, on your gift. My favorite poem may last only until I turn the page, or until I need it again, till I read it again, or forever. My favorite poem surprises me, comforts me, shakes me up, validates me, all of the above. Any comments or? Okay, how about?
Not specifically the poem, but my favorite validates me. I have no favorite anything, and it's for the reasons you said, because in this moment, oh, that's my favorite, but there's something else. The time, the circumstance, the need, the desire, it's forever changing. So people say, what's your favorite? I don't have a favorite. If you say right now, I might answer you, but probably not.
That one sounds like a poem you had an idea about, that you wanted to express your opinion that favorite poems change. And did you start with that, and then how did it flow? How do you move from one statement to the next statement? And you just
You start writing and it comes. And there was a quote, I believe it's in our centering thought. Yes. Langston Hughes wrote, generally the first 2 or 3 lines come to me from something I'm thinking about or looking at or doing, and the rest of the poem flows from the first few lines. If there is a chance to put the poem down then, I write it down. If not, I try to remember it until I get to a pencil and paper, for poems are like rainbows. They escape you quickly. And I have written many haiku while I was walking my dog and not remembered them once I got back in the house. And this may be the new door phenomenon, where you think of something and you go through the door and you forget it completely. Hence, what did I come in here for? Merlin Fuller is Auburn area, I believe it is, poet, songstress of many genres, pirate, Erie Canal, whatever, and she goes around performing, and she also wrote poems for a soft night, and I like this one. It's called Love Notes in the Sand. I wrote a note to you today. I scrawled it in the sand. It said, I love you. I sent it into the universe. I scrawled it on your heart. It said, please forgive me. I sent my love to you today. I whispered it to your soul. It said, please miss me. But now only time, the wind, and water will tell if you heard me. That said to me
That sometimes we can't tell the person directly how we feel or what we need or what we want, but still putting it somewhere. Who knows how the universe works? Maybe it does get delivered. Did anyone bring a poem or have one that they can recite? We have some. Good.
When I was part of the book club in about 4th grade, I got the Arrow Book of Funny Poems, and I remember a bunch of those poems. But for today, I wanted to choose a poem that had more significance. And when I was a high school exchange student in France, I was in the literature track, so I got a lot of poetry, and I can still recite one of those poems that, fortunately, Google has given me a really good English translation of the poem, and so I will read the English first, and then I will also read the French, because when I'm standing here, I'll have a brain fart and won't be able to do so. So, here is a poetic English translation of Jean de La Fontaine's famous fable that is derived, I think, from Aesop, The Cicada and the Ant. I thought it was a grasshopper, which preserves both the meaning and the rhyming spirit of the original French text. The cicada, having sung her song all summer long, found herself completely bare when the winter wind blew fair. Not a single little piece of fly or worm to bring release. She went to cry famine, sweet and low, to the ant, her neighbor close, begging her to lend alone some grain to keep her skin and bone until the coming season's dawn. I will pay you, she did say, before August, come what may. Interest and principal on my name. The ant is not a lender, though. That is her least fault, as you know. What did you do during the warm heat? She asked this borrower she did meet. Night and day to every passer-by, I sang, if it please your eye. You sang. I am delighted it is true. Well then, go and dance now, too. So the Google description says, the standard English version is based on Aesop's original great fable was where the grasshopper came from. And as far as an idiom, the final line, which was go and dance now, is a famous French cultural idiom used to tell someone they must now face the consequences of their lack of preparation. And I was surprised how close the English was to the French, although it felt like it was a lot longer, because usually a translation is going to be longer than the original in order to capture more of the nuance when the second language doesn't have the same nuances that the first language does. So, here's the version in French that I had memorized. La cigale ayant chanté tout l'été se trouva fort dépourvue quand la bise fut venue. Pas un seul petit morceau de mouche ou de vermisseau. Elle alla crier famine chez la fourmi, sa voisine. La priant de lui prêter quelques grains pour subsister. Jusqu'à la saison nouvelle, je vous paierai, lui dit-elle. Avons-nous foi d'animal, intérêt et principal. La fourmi n'est pas prêteuse. C'est là son moindre défaut. Que faisiez-vous au temps chaud? Dit-elle à cette enfanteuse. Nuit et jour, à tout venant, je chantais, ne vous déplaise. Vous chantiez, j'en suis fort aise. Eh bien, dansez maintenant. So, when it's written down, it's a lot easier if you've got some clue, and if you're used to a Canadian French accent, this is not how you would have heard it.
I want to hear a funny one. You said you remember.
Once there was an elephant who tried to use the teletype. Oh no, I mean an elephant who tried to use the telephone. Dear me, I am not certain quite that even now I've got it right. Howe'er it was, he got his trunk entangled in the telephone. The more he tried to get it free, the louder buzzed the telephone. I fear I'd better drop the song of Elefop and Telephone. And that may or may not be one of Ogden Nash. Most of the ones that I remember were Ogden Nash, but some of them, when I've looked them up, weren't. And behold the duck, it does not cluck. A cluck it quacks. A cluck it lacks. It quacks. Be it ever so fond of puddle or pond, when it dines or sups, it bottoms ups. So a lot of the Ogden Nash funny ones are also about animals. Thank you.
Enjoyed it. Francis? Okay.
Oh, Robert was coming.
Oh, Robert, we have something. Good.
Success by Bessie Stanley, often attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson. To laugh often and love much. To win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children. To earn the approval of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends. To appreciate beauty. To find the best in others. To give of oneself. To leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To have played and laughed with enthusiasm and sung with exultation. To know even one life is breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded.
Good. Like that.
Hey, you want to know what you use in this? Read that home.
I'm going to share with you my first and only poem. And this derived or came about, I probably started writing it in December of 2024. And it was because we had Michael Skarnecki. Skarnecki.
Yeah.
Here to share some of his poems and some of his observations of a trip to Japan. But I'd also sort of heard him here maybe twice before that he brought and shared his poems. And so that was in the fall. And on Sunday, November 30th, 2025, he came in the fall of 2025. So on this specific date, because I wrote it down here, I gave myself an exploration project. I shall read the poems in There Is Only This Moment and other books by Michael Zarnecki. You just leave the C out. Zarnecki. Okay. And Thich Nhat Hanh's Essential Writings, edited by Robert Ellsberg. I will write about the thoughts and reflections generated by my reading and try to write some poems. Well, I have actually read these two books more than once, but this is the only poem that I have produced so far.
And it is one that I actually edited again this morning. So here it is. My first poem, a conversation about life, not so simple. You, Michael, you refers to Michael Zarnecki. He refers to Thich Nhat Hanh, and I refers to Francis Mercer. And here's my poem. And it's a combination of their words and my words. So it's both poems by other poets and by me. You say, remember you is Michael, you say it is simple, this life. We're born, we die, what goes on between? Simple. Breathe in, breathe out, all else distraction. He says, remember Thich Nhat Hanh, he says, many, although alive, not really alive, must awake first. I say, I, Francis Mercer, I say, not so simple to know when one is awake, breathing in and breathing out. You say, so simple, this life. There is this one thing, this one moment of life. Now, just now. So simple. He says, our true home is the present moment. To live in the present moment is a miracle. I say, not so simple. Life may be lived in a moment, but the whole of life is a cascade of moments.
Oh, you had.
January of 2020, just before COVID hit, I started meeting with a group that now online on Zoom every week, which I haven't made many recently, discussing Thich Nhat Hanh. It is a Buddhist meditation group, and the format in the hour and a half is to read a passage of the various books of Thich Nhat Hanh. So I have had a lot of the training of Thich Nhat Hanh's vision of Buddhism, and the breathing in, breathing out, and the moment, all of that resonated very much with me, that you absolutely captured the essence and translated it to your perception, pulling in the statements that come from Michael Zarnecki, that I was here when he gave the most recent service. It was just brilliant because you tied through the themes that I know really captured well Thich Nhat Hanh, and certainly captured what you believed, and used the words of somebody I don't know, Michael Zarnecki, but they were global enough that I think that you also captured his perspective in this conversation, that it all fits with the nuance and the using the same words, but depending on the focus, where Thich Nhat Hanh is in the moment and Michael Zarnecki seems to be simple. You breathe during the whole lifespan, and it's one place. The one big thing that I think Zarnecki and Thich Nhat Hanh would have in common is the Buddhist principle of no birth, no death. It is simply a transition. And so that is something that if you want to add another verse, might be, I don't know what you've modified from before, but it was wonderful. Thank you.
Any other poems, either?
Here? Oh, what I especially like about this poem, Francis, is that you have a message from 3 people, and it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong, if they're right or wrong. We're all people, and we have our own beliefs. And to me, this poem, I think I could read it about 5 times more and get even more from it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's wonderful. You all, I also tried a different kind of format. I put it on a page like this, so that there are 3.
Any memorized poems or any written poems or poems to be read from other authors? Oh, good.
Hi. I have a poem that I wrote, and it's just called When. So yesterday they said tomorrow. Today they say later. Why wait? I ask. Don't procrastinate. There are too many days that slip away, too many memories that we don't make. Lift up today and live for the moment. Don't ask when. Tomorrow's a day that might never come. Later is today. Later is now. Yeah.
Thank you. That was great.
So I got one here too. This is actually from Edgar Allan Poe. I believe it's appropriate for this season. Called The Evening Star. 'Twas noontide of summer, and midnight of night, and stars in their orbits shone pale through the light of the brighter cold moon. Mid planets her slaves, herself in the heavens, her beam on the waves. I gazed awhile on her cold smile. Too cold for me. There passed, as a shroud, a fleecy cloud, and I turned away to thee, proud evening star, in thy glory afar, and dearer thy beam shall be. For joy to my heart is a proud part. There is spare in heaven's night, and more admire thy distant fire than colder lowly light.
What was the name of the poem, Erica?
Called Evening Star by Edgar Allan Poe.
Thank you. That was nice.
Well, this is a poem by Hafiz, who is a Persian poet. We have not come here to take prisoners, but to surrender ever more deeply to freedom and joy. We have not come into this exquisite world to hold ourselves hostage from love. Run, my dear, from anything that may not strengthen your precious budding wings. Run like hell, my dear, from anyone likely to put a sharp knife into the sacred, tender vision of your beautiful heart. We have a duty to befriend those aspects of obedience of our house and shout to our reason, oh please, come out and play. For we have not come here to take prisoners or to confine our wondrous spirits, but to experience ever and ever more deeply our divine courage, freedom, and light.
I have a simple poem.
I just wanted to comment on the poem. Who's the author, or did you write that?
No, Hafiz. He was a Sufi poet.
Hafiz is a Sufi poet. I was commenting to Erica that Edgar Allan Poe, it's always interesting which poets people are reading and sharing. And the Sufi especially resonates that we are here in a house of worship and exploring the universe and the unknown. And so for today, that poem especially resonates for me. Thank you for the selection.
I have a poem about one of the 5 forces in the universe, which is gravity. Gravity is at the center of all things. Speed, time, and light all obey. It conserves and maintains. There's a call for action. Opportunity awaits if the master within keeps a calm head, rooted in gravity, in stillness, transforming chaos into grace.
Thank you. Some of these would bear reading again when you can sit and think about them, maybe line for line or phrase for phrase. Maybe we could put them in the September newsletter. Would we be able to do that, Robert? Okay, good. For our closing words, I've chosen another writing from Max Boots. He titled it Prologue. When love is felt or fear is known, when holidays and holy days and such times come, when anniversaries arrive by calendar or consciousness, when seasons come, as seasons do, old and known, but somehow new, when lives are born or people die, when something sacred, sensed in soil or sky, marks the time. Respond with thought or prayer or smile or grief. Let nothing living slip between the fingers of the mind. For all of these are holy things we will not, cannot find again. And now we have the knowledge and the other candle with the words that are in the order of celebration. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now is the time for announcements. Please keep them brief.
I don't know if everybody's aware that Max Boots is a union minister who was up at Canton. And he was also a visual artist, and at the Union Canton auction.
Excuse me, we can't hear again.
At the Union Canton auction
piece that I think is in the Wondering Center, and I'll bring it so people can see.
Sometimes he would bring his structures to share as part of the service. During Joys and Concerns, I forgot to remind us of that Linda Green had a stroke not too long ago, and I guess she's doing better, but she was out walking the dog and fell and broke a couple of ribs and her wrist. So things are not looking out for them. And on the 1st of August, I expect to see you all at my place for brunch. Bring a dish to pass. 10:30.
I will be missing the brunch August 1st because the Fiddlers are playing at the Adams Cheese Festival in the morning, which conflicts, but we're also playing at the Antwerp Library in the afternoon, and later I'll get it in the Weekly Post. We'll go back to Cape Vincent on Broadway. So if you'd like some fiddle music, the first is an opportunity in the afternoon, just Antwerp, which is the wrong direction for most people.
And I guess this comes by way of an announcement. I would appreciate a couple of good picture takers to take pictures of our hand fasting ceremony. So right now, go have a quick cup of coffee while we decorate the table and get ready, and then we'll call you back in when we're ready for the hand fasting. Oh, we have more announcements.
My service next week is a circle. We'll sit around and everybody will take turns in order to talk, and then after that you take notes and ask a question of one selected other person, and they answer it, and then we do as many rounds of questions and answers. The main topic, the first thing, we're going to each get like a minute to answer these 3 questions. What do you believe? What do you believe in? And how are you living your life as a result? So you summarize that in 1 minute. Think about it.
Hi everybody, I'm David. I'm a member of the Canton UU Church, for those of you who don't know. It's great to be here and to see all of you, and it's exciting to be here. I missed the not being able to come down as much this spring. I'm happy, surprised, and grateful for our Reverend James Galasinski, who is moving on to another church in Maryland. So he already did his last Sunday sermon at the last Sunday in June, and he'll be leaving Canton at the end of this month. So it's like, you've been here 10 years? Like, wow, time does move on, doesn't it? So anyway, that's all I wanted to let you know. Thanks.
Okay, coffee.
Joanne?
Oh, you have something?
Yeah. This is actually mostly a joy, that I forgot to mention earlier. When we had our blessing of the animals, a little while back, very unusual thing happened. My mom and I were leaving, and there was a dead bird in my driveway, and moved it out of the way. But when we came home a couple hours later, I saw something flapping by the side of the road. Turns out it was an injured crow that I rescued, had it for about 24 hours, and then took it to the animal hospital. Unfortunately, even though it was alert, it does appear that it wasn't going to survive and had possibly a spine injury. So kind of a blessing and kind of a not so great ending, but definitely touched my life. Thanks.
I didn't read because it was so long, and my voice is still hoarse from the innovation. I chose this poem with Mark Anderson for you and Neil. So I'm hoping you'll have a chance to read it after.
Thank you.
When you get home.
Lovely.
When I read it, I thought,
Thank you for the idea of printing them, like in the newsletter. I had hoped to bring along Osmandius, but
All right. So, yeah, I thought you wanted me to do that.
I'll explain.
Oh, you can hold them if you want to. Just go ahead and,
We're lighting the chalice to create a sacred space for this ceremony.
Neil and Joanne are glad you are here to witness their public commitment to each other and love for each other. A handfasting is an ancient Celtic ceremony said to go back thousands of years. It has been much more popular in recent years and can stand alone, although some couples choose to incorporate it into a wedding ceremony. The couple also will light a unity candle to signify this joining and read vows and exchange rings. Okay, the unity candle. Born in January, Neil is lighting a deep red candle, the color of his garnet birthstone. Joanne lights a blue candle, representing her March aquamarine. They use the flames of the candles to light the white unity candle, which is inscribed with the infinity symbol. Okay. The infinity symbol has been a symbol of your relationship since your high school days. Today, you have chosen that symbol to be an outward expression of your commitment to each other in the form of silver rings. Please speak your vows and exchange rings.
My dear sweet Joanne, found again at last against the fading chance. How lucky we are to be together once more. Your renewed presence in my life is like our first kiss so long ago. I accept you as my spiritual wife for the rest of my natural life and promise to respect your beliefs and to accept your family and friends as my own too, and to share all mine with you as well. I give you this ring in token and reality of my unending and everlasting love and devotion for you.
Dearest Neil, we loved each other once with the ardor and innocence that only teenagers of the 60s could. I always wondered what it would have been like had we not parted ways. Now, it seems that something, fate, the universe, maybe even God, has planned a second chance for us, which could be even better than the first. From your first text, through exchanging many more, phone calls and emails, and the time we have spent together, I felt that same warm, loving connection as before. Time and many life experiences may have shaped us, but you are still you, I am still me, and now we are us again. As I take you as my spiritual husband,
I promise to support you physically, emotionally, lovingly. I will honor your spiritual path and accept your family and friends as my own. With this ring, I seal my vows to you.
Okay. To further seal and celebrate your joining, I ask you now to join your right hands, clasping each other's wrists while I place the hand-fasting cord over and around them. When it is in place, grasp it and pull to form a knot. Joanne and Neil have now tied the knot. May we all ask a blessing upon them and their future life together. May they find contentment in each other's company, understanding in their communication, strength in times of trouble, and security in each other's arms. Amen, and blessed be.
There you go. I'm done.